If I can just ask people to come in and take those seats, it'll stop the safety people coming up to me and tell me that they're going to close the room down because there's too many people in it. So there are seats here. If you could just come up and take those, that'd be great. Just want to once again acknowledge the sponsor of our sessions today, Car Wash Solutions Australia. I did mention this morning, if you haven't taken, if today's your first day at the show, they've done a remarkable job with their stand, and it's well worth seeing and talking to Josh and Sky, who are very supportive. I'm going to ask Matt and Marcus to come forward. Really looking forward to this session, and just very much appreciate Marcus coming all the way out from the States for us, the first International Car Wash Association president to do that for us. We very much appreciate it, and in fact appreciate all the stuff that the ICC do for us. Our relationship is fantastic. I'm not going to dominate. I'm not going to say anything more. I'm going to leave it to Matt, who's a cool cat, and he'll lead us through.
Thanks, Doug. Much appreciated, and welcome everybody. Day 2 of Car Wash Show Australia. Big welcome to you, Marcus.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
First time in Australia?
Yes, first time. It's a great city to be in, and long flight. I didn't realize once we left LAX, it's 15 hours in the air, but
buckling in.
Really good.
Who'd you come out with?
My son, Buddy, up here.
Buddy, put your hand up, mate. Yep. Good stuff. Tell us, where do you live in the USA?
In Alabama, if you can't tell by the accent. Hope y'all can understand what I say. But in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama.
Absolutely. And you're also the president of the ICA.
The ICA this year. Yep. Eric and
Eric, the CEO.
Here.
Where's Eric? Put your hand up, Eric. Yep. So fantastic that Eric's also made the trip out here. Yep. So, tell me, going back a little bit, when did you first acquire your first in-bay automatic and self-serve?
The first self-serve I built was in 1986. And so that was my first self-serve I built at age 21, I believe, or 22. And then a couple years later is when I guess, transitioned into an in-bay. So probably 85, 86, in that area there.
How many tunnels do you currently own at the moment?
We're up to 146 as of Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm walking around thinking I own 5, and I thought, gee, I'm doing well. You know,
yeah, we opened,
not even close.
We opened it up on our flight to here. So,
fantastic. Yeah, well done. I want you to turn back the clock. Tell us back when you first got involved with car washing. How did that all happen?
Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school. I was age 16, and I needed a part-time job. And so a friend of mine got me a job at a car wash in our area, and then he ended up quitting a week later. And so I knew nobody, but anyway, that's how I started, just working part-time at a full-service car wash. And, you know, the full-service car wash, I think, is a little bit different here than there. You know, we're conveyorized with a full service there. But that's where I started. Did that for 12 years.
What were some of the challenges? When you first obviously walked in there, didn't know a hell of a lot. What was the challenges when you first walked in that first time?
Yeah, I think as a young person getting, working in any business, it's tough just to adapt to a schedule and having responsibilities and but I was really fortunate. I worked for a really good owner, and that really poured a lot into we had probably 50 to 75 employees that worked at that one location, and he was a really good owner that poured back into the teaching and the things like that for the employees. And so I was really fortunate to be under the right ownership.
Yeah, for sure. When you actually went to buy your very first one, how did that happen, and what sort of motivated you to go, okay, I'm going to go and buy one now?
Yeah, in 1995, I went to work for a company where we installed car washes and serviced car washes all over the Southeast. And I did that for 5 years. And I was tired of traveling, and so there was an opportunity to lease a car wash, a full-service car wash, about an hour south of where I live. And so I took that opportunity, leased it, and then a couple of years later is when I bought the other car wash in Hoover, which started the Express. But that's where I got started in the tunnel as far as the Express.
And was that tough walking into a car wash and really, yes, you'd worked at one, but now you're owning one.
Yeah, it was, I had no money back then, and so it's hard because you're having to lease and kind of scrap and save and make everything happen. But there's always challenges. This is a tough industry, no matter if it's the self-serve, or in-bays, or the express. I saw the Star Wash with 170 locations that do the hand wash. I mean, it's just tough business, and so you have to fight for it.
So what's some of the key points, just thinking about in today's times, what's the key points of running a successful car wash?
I know this is cliche, but it's really about your people. I had an opportunity to greet. We had 60 people come to the ICA show, and I had an opportunity to kind of talk to them. And I always tell them, I say, the most important person in our company is the site level team, the manager, the assistant manager, all the way down to the kid that just does the towels and cleans up the lot. The customer will never know if I'm around. They'll never know if the private equity guy's around. They'll never know if the CEO is around, and they don't care. Yep. They don't care.
It's like Undercover Boss, isn't it?
Yeah. They see the person that represents your company at the site level, and so our philosophy is, listen, we're here to support them. So, I really enjoyed last night. I was at this event and I saw a young lady and a man receive an award. I think it was Employee of the Year or a Manager of the Year. Are they in here, by the way? Congratulations on that. Really, that's a great job. That really is a good job. And I love seeing that. I think to me, that's the industry.
Yep.
And so I love seeing that. So congratulations.
Yep. Well done. What a lot of people don't, and I didn't know this until we had a chat on Monday afternoon, excuse me, but you were the pioneer of express exterior car washing. Just tell us, how did that all eventuate?
I visited a friend of mine in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, named Benny Alford, and Benny was the pioneer. I guess I'm credited with being number 3. A guy named Lamar Beck, which we just inducted into the Hall of Fame in the States this past year. So it was an honor for me to be able to do that for him. But that's how I went to visit. I actually went to visit him for another reason. He had just opened his express car wash, and I met Benny through the association. That's how I knew Benny. And so his son, his name is Justin Alford, and went to visit him to look at a few other things in the full service business, and they just opened up this express, and I'm not, I said to myself, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I like the way they're washing cars over there.
You picked up on it straight away. Yeah. So then you took that model and started to adapt it in your own.
Yeah, in 2001, that's when we started that model. But at the same time, we kept our self-serves and in-bays, and they have been really good. But we wanted to kind of go to another level, and so we decided to go try the express model, and it seemed to work, and so we just kept growing, and so here we are.
It's worked pretty well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been okay.
You also did something really left field, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I want to just bring up a picture here if I get this click right. Which I clicked the right one. There we go. Just tell us about this self-serve setup here. You've done the gates. Tell us about that.
This here is my very first self-serve car wash I built in 1986. And it's called Marc-1, which my mom named it after myself. So, but anyway, that was it. And so we ended up. The express model was working so good; it was really working well. And I said, let's if we can, how can we create that in a self-serve only environment? And so we added 2 gates. You can see the pay stations there. It's a single price, and then we put push buttons on the meters, moved the vacuums from the front of the bays, moved those to the side of the lot. And it's been really good. It actually increased it doubled our revenue after the 3rd year. People had to get used to it. It was a different concept. We still have it today. As a matter of fact, I've turned that over to my son here, Buddy. But he's done a really good job with them, and so that's that. And there's 1 or 2 in the country like that. We were 1 or 2 doing that. So.
And you were the first one to do that?
Well, I think I was the second actually.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yep. A friend of mine in Georgia did it first.
Okay, yeah, no, it was a big call, but obviously it worked for you.
Yeah, we still have it, and it's still the same model. The pay one price. It's $10 to get in and wash and vacuum all you want, and that wash in U.S. dollars was for about, I don't know, 20 years was stuck at about $90,000 a year, and so I think we're currently doing about 190, 180, 190 there. So it really. You know, you have to have the room to do that. That's not the normal self-serve layout.
But on that particular location,
that location works.
It
yeah,
works.
and we have an express tunnel right down the street. I mean, so we compete, and we compete with ourselves. I mean, it's our tunnel.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, that's a good way to be.
Yeah.
So, what are the trends right at the moment? You know, in the car washing industry in the USA, and even globally, where is the whole car washing game sort of going? Is it going to be more just exterior express, or is it still the hand car wash still there?
Well, I can say in the States, the trend for a while has been the express. There's been really no. If you talk to your equipment manufacturers, there's not been an uptick in self-serve or in-bay new construction. There's some pockets that still have it, but I think the opportunity that they see in the self-serve and the in-bays is when you buy an older one and able to rehab it. But as far as the trends go, we're really heavy into the subscription business, and I think that's something that's what drew the private equity in was the subscription, because you could forecast sales a little bit better, take the weather component out. But I think I still think that's the trend moving forward.
Yep. In Australia, obviously the market is currently dominated by in-bay automatics and self-serves. We are seeing tunnels coming to Australia now. And I know you haven't been here long, and you've been talking to people. Just your gut feeling on where is the car washing market going to be continuing? Because obviously we tend to follow America or the USA quite a bit.
Don't follow us on everything. That's for sure.
How do you see the Australian market? And like I said, I know it's a bit of off the hip sort of a question to you, but you're a very smart man. I'm just curious to what your thoughts are on the Australian market. Where's it going?
I think the express will evolve in this market. I think there's enough people that are interested in it, and when you have people interested in investing in that type of model, I think you'll see it. But you have to have the right demographics, the right traffic counts. Things have to really play out right for that to work. It's not just build it and they will come. It takes work.
Yep.
And it takes the right demographics and the right markets. And unfortunately, in the States, we've seen a lot of overbuilding, and it's cost some guys some problems. And so we're seeing some pullback.
Yep.
in some of our markets.
Yeah, absolutely. Just touch on. Not everyone knows about Marc-1. Can you just tell us about Marc-1?
Yeah, I started Marc-1, the self-serve, in 1986, and then we started with the self-serves. I think at one time I had 7 or 8 of those, and over the years I sold them, and then we had some in-bays with washes, and then in 2000 is when I leased a tunnel, and that's kind of what started, kept that brand, Marc-1 brand, all the way up through 2018. We still have it now, but I ran it myself through 2018, and then from there, from Mammoth, we've kind of grown. But I had, between self-serves and automatics, or in-bays and tunnels, I think we had 12 locations, something like that.
You did something really interesting, and you converted a in-bay automatic. Let me just get that. Hang on. All right. All right, want to go the other way? Might need some help on that, please. It's actually not working, but I want to show a picture of an in-bay automatic that you converted to an express. I'm just going to get some assistance here. Which one is it? Hang on, Ann.
You walked all the way up here for that?
Which one was it? Oh, well.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was a little bit simple, wasn't it? Yeah. So there it is there. So in-bay automatics, you converted to an express tunnel. Was it 72 foot?
Yeah, that one is. That was actually 3 in-bay automatics and 3 self-serve bays that we purchased back in 2012, I believe it was. And so we ran it that way for about a year, and then we tried to figure out some engineering, how we could make, at first we were just going to convert one bay to a mini express, because back then in the States, that's kind of when the mini express was starting to kind of gain some ground. So we said, let's try that. But then once we started laying it out, we couldn't get the free vacuums in the right way. And so we had our engineer come in and say, let's convert this whole building to an express. And the way the city requirements were, if you were knocked the building down, then you have to go apply for rezoning.
Right.
And so we had to stay within the same footprint. So we just knocked all the walls out straight down the middle, and then put a conveyor in the middle, and then moved the vacuums to the outside and changed the driveways around. And it's one of our best locations now. I mean, it does tremendously well.
Yeah.
But that's, to me, that's an example of repurposing a self-serve and an in-bay if you want to try the market. It was less, even though it was a rehab, it was less expensive than having to go build a brand new.
And it took your revenue to another level.
Oh, it absolutely did.
Yeah, so that's really initiative thinking what you did there. And this photo here, this is just a really cool looking site. Just tell us what you did with this one.
Yeah, this is one that my son was interested in. This is a two-bay. It was closed down when we bought it, but it was a two in-bay automatic and 5 self-serve bays. And it's in our market where the other ones were. And we said, listen, we just did this, I don't know, 2 years ago. Yeah. And so, that's why I still think there's markets for the in-bays and the self-serve. So we purchased it, redid it. Card only, no cash, and we went there, and it's doing extremely well.
Any backlash on the no cash?
Well, we opened it up with no cash,
Yep.
and so it was easier for us, I think. But we've converted most of our sites to no cash. There has, any negative has been
Minor.
not even measurable.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Mammoth Holdings before. Can you tell us about Mammoth Holdings and what it's all about, and how did it all come about?
Yeah, no, Mammoth Holdings was a concept. Actually, a good friend of mine named Gary Dennis was his concept. And we noticed back in 2015, 16 that we started seeing private equity come into the industry. And I was at a point in life where I said, I was either going to sell the business and do some other stuff, or his idea was, well, let's merge together, form a alliance, and then let's bring in a private equity company. Wow. It took a couple of years to get that done, so we closed the deal in 2018. But that's kind of how that worked. We started with the my 7 express washes. They had 8 at the time. In order for the private equity company to be interested in a smaller company, we had to go out and purchase 7 more before you could get to a level they would be interested in. And so we did that. We started with 22 in October of 2018, and as of last Friday, we sit at 146.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you the big question. You're currently 146.
Yes.
You would have a target, I'm quite sure, where you want to be.
Yeah.
What is it?
The number we would love to be at is 500.
Wow.
But that's going to take a lot of top 10 companies. And, they always call it mergers and acquisitions. There's no mergers. It's all acquisitions. So, don't ever be fooled, hey, we're merging together. It's never a merger. It's always an acquisition. And so, but no, we want to get to 500, however that looks, if it's acquiring, or we could be acquired.
Yep. Are you going to do any construction at all?
Yeah, we opened up 24 greenfields, or we'll have 24 open by the end of this year, greenfields. We open one up about every 2 weeks.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. I suppose that leads me to the next question then. How do you manage all that? How do you actually...
Fortunately, I don't have to.
No.
I used to, in the beginnings, but we've hired a great team of people. We've hired a CEO, a guy named Dave Hoffman. Dave is a Dunkin' Donut. He's a past CEO of Dunkin' Donuts. We've got a really good CFO, COO, and so it literally takes an army to do what we do. I think last count we're at 1,440 employees around the country. 22 states now. So it takes a lot. But but like I always tell everybody, it starts at the site level. Yep. You have to have you got to reverse your thinking and say, listen, we're here to serve them. What can we do to make their job better? How can we make them succeed? And once you get that mechanism, then everything else kind of falls in place.
So you've got car washes going in quite quick and fast. Yeah. How important, and we know it's important, but how do you actually work out where you're going to be putting these car washes?
We have internally, we have a GSI tool, and somebody asked me the other day what that meant. I said, I have no idea. I don't know what GSI means. I know we have the tool, and we built it ourselves internally. And so, you know, we look at markets and say, listen, we like to be in this market. And so we might find a group of car washes to buy. We try to buy into a market and then expand from there. So that's how we do it.
Yeah. Obviously, lots of car washes, you're very successful. You're doing something right. What does make your car washes stand out from the competitors?
Well, again, I know it's cliche, but it's always your people. I mean, you know, a car wash is a car wash. You know, conveyor is a conveyor, a belt's a belt, a side brush is a side brush, curtain's a curtain. You know, everybody offers express now in the States. I mean, they're everywhere. Yeah. And so,
so you're putting time and money into stuff?
You have to. It's a very capital intense business, as everybody knows that has them, how capital intensive it is. And so, but you know, we spend a lot of resources on our teams. I mean, that's what it takes, training. I mean, there's a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Now, I'm just going to show you a couple of photos of some of your recent openings. Yeah. There's Lulu there.
Yeah, that's in South Carolina, I think. But yeah, that's a brand we bought. I think they had 7 when we bought them, and then now they're up to, I think, 9 or 10. And so we've expanded that brand. That's been a really good location coming out of the gate too.
Yeah,
really well.
Yeah, it looks a great site. Silver Car Wash.
Yeah, Silver Star. That's a group that we bought out of the Iowa area and the North Dakota, South Dakota. Pretty cold climates. The owners of that one are really, really good developers, and so we brought them on as our team, as our partners to help develop for us. And they, you know, they have built probably out of the 24 opening this year, they're probably responsible for 15 of them. I mean, they print them out, and so. But you know what you see, you know, 24 is a lot in 1 year, but it took 3 years to get the pipeline built to do that. It doesn't just happen. You've got to go through a lot of zoning and construction, and unfortunately we've built during some of the peak times of construction costs, inflation costs. So, you know, I think that site there was $7.8 million to build. Wow, so expensive.
Yeah, another nice one site. And then this last one, Today's Car Wash?
Today's, yeah, that's another group we bought out of Texas. We just opened that site up recently, and so when we purchased that group, they had 2 in the planning stages of being built, and so we bought the rights to those and had them finish them up for us. And so it's a great brand, great group of people.
We talked about, obviously you've got several different brands, and are you in the process of, or is it open on the table to, excuse me, to rename them all one brand?
There is. There's a move to do that. That was never a priority for us because everybody has asked us that question when we started. And our belief was when we started Mammoth Holdings is, you know, everybody puts a lot of money and effort into their brand. So when you purchase them, the worst thing you can do sometimes is rip their signs off and put a sign up that means nothing to the customer. Yeah. And more importantly, it means nothing to the team.
You lose that ownership.
Yeah, and so you try to gradually work through that. And so we have a long-term plan. I think we're starting. We're buying some washes in South Florida, so we're going to start with those. We're going to rebrand Florida first, and then I think Georgia next, and I'm not sure what's after that, but yeah, that's the plan right now.
And just quickly, whereabouts in the States are your washes focused? Whereabouts are they?
We have probably more in the Southeast. Southeast was probably ahead of the curve in the express business back in the early 2000s. And so that's where the majority of them are. But we're in Salt Lake City, Utah, and then, you know, Iowa. We just opened up, I think, 6 in Minnesota. So we're branching out.
And Florida as well?
Florida, yeah, that's a good market for us.
Yeah, obviously be lots of good car washing days in Florida.
Yep, been good.
Now, I just want to get some advice from you. Potentially in this room, there's some people that are thinking about building their very first car wash or buying their first car wash. Yeah. They're probably having sleepless nights over that.
Well, we still have sleepless nights.
I bet you do.
I told my son I didn't sleep good last night. I was nervous about being up here today.
What's your advice? And even people just one car wash that want to go to that next level, purchase that second one and furthermore. What's your advice to them? They're sitting there sweating about it. Do I do it? Don't I do it? Your advice?
That's a hard question, but for me, it's always, I'm very conservative by nature. You wouldn't know that with the number of car washing states we have, but I'm very conservative by nature. But I love this industry. I love the self-serve. I love the in-bays. I love the tunnels. I think there's room for everybody. If you have an opportunity to get in, especially maybe in the market here in Australia, it seems to be some good opportunities to maybe do that. I would do your research. Always do your research. But I think the most important thing is I'm a product of associations. I've been in association, in the Car Wash Association, literally probably all my car wash life. And so I would have never seen the Express Car Wash, the very first one in the country, from Benny, if I would not have been in the association. And so, this is not a plug for the association, but I'm just saying from my personal experience, you have to be involved in your associations. You have to meet people, share information. I really think that's the key to success in this industry. We're a small industry compared to most industries, and we are growing, but we are still a very small industry. And we're one of the few. You ask our CEO, Dave Hoffman, he'll tell you there's nothing like the car wash industry. I mean,
it's addictive.
Yes. Well, I think the thing too is we have nice people. I mean, we really do. We have nice people, and they're willing to share and help with information. And so I think that's a big part of it. He's not used to that coming from, he was at 20 years at McDonald's and then, I think 7 years at Dunkin'. And so that's a cutthroat business. They don't share anything. Matter of fact, they spy on each other and steal stuff. So, but the car wash industry, if it wasn't been for Benny Alford to open his doors for me, I would not be here today. Yeah. So, really thankful for those relationships, but it starts with the associations.
Yeah. I'm picking up you're really still passionate after all these years.
Yeah.
What is it? All the hard work. Why are you still passionate about the car washing industry? You've been in it for a long time.
Yeah, I think just like seeing them get their awards last night, the young people developing and getting better, and achieving their goals and dreams, and I think with Mammoth, one of the most rewarding things I've seen inside our company, and unfortunately, I used to know everybody's name, but with 1,400 people, I don't anymore. And every time I looked on LinkedIn, we've hired 10 more people for some reason. So, but the rewarding things to me is watching our internal team grow into positions that we're creating now. Yeah. We've had a guy, James Stabler, that was with us back when I hired him when he was at Marc-1, and now he's a safety director for the entire company. Completely different. We changed his life, doing what he does now. And so to me, it's about, watching the young people get better and achieve their dreams and providing opportunities for them.
It's got to be great having Buddy on board too.
Yeah, no, he's a great kid. He works hard. I told him, I said, there's 3 things you have to do in this industry if you want to, do what I do. You have to learn how to install them and fix them. You have to learn how to run them, and then you have to learn how to own them. Yep. And it's 3 completely different things you do.
Pretty good advice, I would say.
Yeah, well, that was my journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And just looking back just quick, we're almost done here. One defining moment. What was the big thing that just kicked you off, got you going in the right direction? Was it that first Express exterior, or was it something else along the way that just went, bang, I've hit the right,
making the decision to go Express when I visited Benny's, because back before then I had self-serve in-bays and full service. Yep. And so just making that decision. There was no one in the country. There was just him doing it. And so, we're not sure if it's going to make it or not. You're trying to. I can remember when I first opened it up. It was in May, and it poured down rain for. It seemed like years, but it was weeks. And I'm standing in the middle of my parking lot, thinking, "What have I done?"
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm walking around an empty parking lot. No one knows the concept. But sun came out, and then people started learning the process. But it's I still remember that day.
Yeah, I've done that too. I've said, "What have I done?"
Car wash industry will do that to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then when you're not washing cars, you ring someone you know and say, "Are you quiet or not?" And they say, "Yeah, we're quiet."
You think you think you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think, "What have I done? Who have I upset?" So, but no, it's amazing how that sort of works. Last question. Obviously, you're a very busy man with everything you do. How do you balance such a large business as well as your personal life and everything else?
Yeah, fortunately, about 3 years ago, we brought in a CEO, as a professional group to run the car wash. So I'm not involved in the day-to-day operations anymore. I'm on a call every Monday that I get updates with operations, and I'm still very involved in the acquisition part of the company, and then the greenfields, pretty active in that. But that's about it. As far as the operations, I'm not involved. And we hired a great team, so we just let them do their job. And if they need me, they call me. If they don't, they don't.
Absolutely. So. Is there any questions in the crowd for Marcus? Yes, please.
No, I've been asked
There's
that
some nervous
already.
people in the crowd, Marcus.
No, trust me, you're safe with me. No, we did not.
Really good question.
Yeah, I think private equity. We have our hands full in the States right now, and so if we are going to commit, say, $100 million, we're going to commit it to where we are and not try to start something new somewhere else.
Yeah. Another question. Yep.
That was the architect style in that kind of that Texas market, and you want to kind of differentiate yourself from everybody else, and so that's why we did that. Yeah. So there is a kind of a need to market into the building. Yeah, you're trying to create a really nice street presence for your customers and to show that you're different, and so I think that building probably, I don't know, $2.5 million to build, and so, but that's where we are in the States in the market. That's where, because there's literally expresses everywhere, and so to separate yourself, some of us go bigger and better, and then some of us, just stick with the traditional block, square block, and but for us to compete, we have to do that.
Any more questions? Oh, sorry, yep.
Do you have a theory on, with the Express model, how you work on numbers to make the Express a selective option in terms of volume?
Yeah, we look at traffic counts, of course, look at demographics. We like to say 25,000 people in a market. We look at how many cars are in a driveway. Not just housetops, but also cars that are in the driveway. There's the distinction there. I think in the States, I think there's an average of 2.5 or close to 3 cars in a driveway, and so we look at that. Going home side, rather than going to work side, and then we just run the numbers. We run the numbers on a retail, like for just retail customers, which is. Somebody comes in once, twice a month for a $10 or $15 wash, and then we'll run the numbers with our subscription, which, we used to hire managers that were really good turning wrenches. Now we hire managers that are really good at marketing. They're really good at customer facing. They're really good at sales, and so we've swapped our line of thinking about that. We want the person to say, hey, I want to sell, I want to do memberships. That's what we're looking at, because that's what has turned into the States. It's all about subscriptions. I mean, that's where we are now. Yes, sir. We have everybody's. Now on new construction stuff, we do a lot with NCS. We still do some stuff with Sonny's. And that's just the deal that was made, but we literally have everybody's equipment. I mean, we have Sonny's, Hannah, Motor City, AVW. We have everybody's equipment, and we don't rip their stuff out to put other stuff in. We try to go back, because to me, all of it works good. It's about your distributor and about your support. That's the most important. because a bearing's a bearing, a brush is a brush, and so there might be a little different spin on something here and there, but for the most part, and they're all good stuff. They all put a lot of money into the technology of their car washes, and so we like all of them. I mean,
Rob?
What do you see as the next development phase of the express tunnel in the US? Are you nearing saturation? What's going to be the next generation to keep people engaged?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we ask ourselves that all the time. Try to be forward thinking. What amenities are the customers going to want? And so, that's a highly asked question. We're trying to figure it out ourselves. I mean, we're trying to, we offer towels, bottles. I think free air now.
Like tire air machines, windshield wiper stations.
Yeah. So we offer a lot of amenities, but so does the guy next door too. And so that's when it comes down to the people that you put in front of them, because people like to do business with people they like. That's what we've noticed, and so we try to hang on to our teams and support them the best way we can. So that's at the end of the day, that's what's going to move the needle, is that.
So do you see you're at saturation, or is it still scope?
There's pockets left, and we're still building. We've got we'll finish up 8 more by the end of the year, which will give I think 32. And then we do a little bit of brownfield, which that's buying an existing one and revamping it. We do a few of those, but no, we're still buying and building, so there's still opportunity. But you just have to be careful because you are getting saturated.
Last question. One more. Yep.
Yes, sir.
How do you get people to transition from being in a bay automatic to an express without feeling that they're trapped in a line of cars in a tunnel?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So people that currently use an in-bay automatic,
Yep.
then all of a sudden they're going to come over and use a tunnel.
Yep.
The barrier's there, and obviously you're in a big long tunnel, and everything's around you.
Yeah, it's an education process. I remember when we first started doing the Express back in '02, they didn't know what to do when they drove up on the conveyor. Cars were sideways, and we were crashing cars, and our site got so busy, I wouldn't even stop by it anymore. There was crashes out in the parking lot. I'm trying not to scare everybody, but that's what it was back then.
In the early days.
But customers, we've noticed if there's a line of cars, they like to follow the person in front of them. They get comfortable doing that. And so as long as you get that car in neutral, you're good. You get that car in neutral, they'll line up and go. We have anti-collision pads at the end of the conveyor where if a car stops at the end and they don't move forward, then the conveyor will stop until that car moves off the pad. And so customers get used to it. It takes time, and we're 20-something years now into the Express. And so, our average change speed's probably 120 cars per hour, 140. We have one site in Utah that did 4,000 cars in one day. It's a double tunnel, 205. It's 2 tunnels with 205-foot conveyors. And so our record day, I think it's 4,040 in one day.
Wow.
After a big snow and stuff like that. So, volume is the name of the game, and subscriptions kind of fill that up. And so that's been they just get used to it. It takes time. They get used to it. Customers do.
Marcus, it's been an absolute pleasure
Oh, it's all mine.
to have yourself and Buddy here with us in Australia. We could probably keep talking for hours here, but we can't.
Hope y'all have me back. I'd like to be back in a couple of years.
Absolutely, and we're going to Adelaide in 2 years' time.
we'll
and
be there.
If you like a wine or anything like that, you'll love Adelaide. We've got Rory coming up in a second, so don't go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Marcus.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Marcus. We really do like somebody who walks the walk, not just talks the talk. And Marcus said before, it's all about sharing information and the car wash industry's ability to share information. And the man's got 148 car washes and flown out to Australia to share information with you. So thank you so much. Our next session was primarily designed for new investors.